this will show that we're on. It'll actually say starting. See?
Oh.
So now it turns green. We're actually on right now.
Awesome.
And live stream content. Boom.
Boom.
Easy to go. City Talk Fall River. This is Trot. I do not have Nikki with me at the moment because she will be here in about a half hour. We're doing a very early edition of City Talk based on my work schedule, which is always busy. On the side of me, though, today we have a guest. He actually requested to come on the show. He actually said, "Hey, Trot, can I come on?" I said, "Yeah, I don't see why not. I got to check in with the people." But Derek's not here today, so you have his seat right now.
Oh, thank you.
Nikki will be here at about 8:30 or so. And this is Jeffrey. Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hello, good morning, Forever. How's everyone going?
All three people that watch it, that listen to our podcast.
Sweet. 3 people so far.
You know. So why'd you want to come on my podcast? If I said my podcast while Nikki was here and Derek were here, we would get a big eye roll.
Ooh.
Because it's not really my podcast. It's us.
No.
That's what the 4 stars represent on the City Talk logo.
Yes.
4 people.
4 people.
Edward Costa, who used to be on here all the time, myself, Nikki, and the scribe, Derek. So, what made you want to come on?
Well, I've always been listening to your show the past 2 years ago, and ever since then, and helping you out with the campaign last year, which I was very glad to do it. And I will do it again next year.
Maybe.
So, and I know you've been so busy recently this year, and I was like, if you have the chance, maybe I'll come by, because I've also been working on weekends too.
Yep.
So, excuse me. So I just figured, I'd give myself a chance and see if I can just come in for a little while.
Now, who else do you listen to? Because you pay attention to a lot of these local shows and newspapers and stuff like that.
I mean, I just been listening to a lot of politics for the past few years, ever since I got into the 2014 recall.
You listen to so what is it? CJ and Chip Kamara, they do Spindle City Straight Talk, right? Yeah, that's on YouTube as well.
They do it on YouTube, and they do it on their local channel for Forever.
All right, cool. Yeah. And I know that you were running around with them during the campaign to not vote for the debt exclusion.
Yes. Yep.
For the school, right? Now, your personal view, did you want them to actually build a new school?
I wanted to have a new school. There was no doubt that we needed a new school, but again, it's simple. Do you want your taxes to go up? And some people recently said yes, but maybe I should not have voted for it.
There are some people that didn't even want the new school to be built.
Well,
I mean, I personally think that we should have had a new school.
Yeah.
But the property was pretty expensive, and it made us have to go into what I felt was a really bad mistake with the debt exclusion.
And that's a shame, because people are they just really wanted whether they really wanted the high school or not.
Right.
And now we're going to find out who's going to build it.
Right. Now, the whole process is not even really complete yet. And there's a lot of things. A lot of people were voting on a lot of money, and there were no real plans for maintenance. A lot of these things were kind of up in the air, and I think now we're going to start seeing that now that we know how much money is going to be spent on this. So we'll go from there. But I agreed with some of it where I did not think we needed to go this high on the price. However, we're here now. And I think now we're starting.
For it.
Yeah.
So I'm not running for office, or anything. So if I'm not saying people are wrong, but if you want to complain and bitch in a few years, don't complain, but yourself. So that's the truth.
The views and opinions expressed by Jeffrey Goudreau.
That's right.
Do not reflect Trot Lee or anything like that at all. No, it was kind of a weird thing, because again, if you're paying attention to social media at all, and not just social media, but if you go around the city, and I've been able to actually go around the city and see and talk to people about some of these things, and a lot of people now are expressing being upset that their rent's going up.
Yeah.
And again,
water bills and $10 trash bags.
Yes. Yeah.
So
there's a lot of things going up, and I always ask this question. Been asking this question for the past half decade now. Are you getting a return on your investment?
I don't. To me, I don't think so. I don't. And the one thing with me, I'll be honest. I don't kiss butts on people. We're doing the great. The city's doing great. You know, but I don't see it like that all the time. So yeah, we have some good things so far, but it's not.
Name the good things. Name the bad things. Name three good things that you like about what's going on in Fall River.
Well, the jobs. Well, even though our job rate has been slightly been up, not the good way though. But the South Coast Marketplace, since open late last year, has been doing well. It's been very busy.
You're over there, aren't you?
I work there.
Yeah. Where do you work? Do you mind?
No, I have no problem. TJ Maxx.
All right, you're over at TJ Maxx over there. And has the business increased since you've been over that way?
Yes, I would say the busiest time is the weekends. I'm telling you right now, Saturdays gets busy. So
good.
I've just been happy working there. I like going there. It's just I wish they have more retail stores than the hair salon or all that, because we get the same stuff over and over here in the city. Give us something different. So the negatives, potholes, the trash bags. When you do campaign promises, you should do your duties.
Are you shouting out to Jazel Correa right now? Is that what you're talking about right now?
Him and anyone else who runs in the near future, when you're gonna promise something, whether it's that or anything else, you keep your word.
Now, when Cliff Ponte first ran for city council,
I voted for him.
He promised
he did
that he was going to go after the bags and at that time the sanitation fee.
He did, and he did not do it. And nothing. I paid attention. We all did.
Jazel Correa has recently, and has at least for the past, I believe, year and a half or so, been promising that the purple bags will go.
He got rid of the $10
per unit fee. Absolutely.
And then and great. I'm happy for that. But some people are saying, is it worth it? Where does that money go? Where's the money?
Well, here, the one thing that people are kind of not remembering here is that the water bills went up for a very specific reason.
Right.
Where we were not able to use our sewage incinerator anymore because of EPA regulations. We had to start shipping our sewage out to Cranston, Rhode Island. And when we ship it out to Cranston, Rhode Island, that increased our costs on the sewage. So that's what really caused that to go up. And there was conversation about having some type of regional area where they could bring it, and that would possibly cut down the cost of travel, because obviously it costs some money to ship all our sewage out to Cranston. Prompting Joe Camara at one point in time to make a funny joke that maybe because that's gonna bring quite a smell if Fall River became that area. So he said, why don't we ship it over to Barnstable, right? Because at that point in time, Barnstable was making a commentary to send their homeless to our area, if you remember that correctly. So anyway,
yep.
Yeah, and I think that's the specific reason why so had you voted Sam Sutter in and had you kept that fee for the sanitation fee, you would have had that sanitation fee
higher
along with the sewage. Because that sewage cost was going to come no matter what, no matter who the mayor was, unless you were able to figure out a way to get an updated incinerator in Fall River to take care of that sewage, which I have not heard anyone at all talk about that being an option, because I'm just not, I just don't know if there's a cost, or a price that is out there that we could afford that. But it seems like we're affording
everything else.
Yeah.
Hey, if people can't afford it.
Yep.
Honestly, I know I can't.
Right.
Some people are not rich.
Right. From what I understand, the sewage incinerator was outdated since 1979. It hasn't been upgraded since 1979.
I did not know
So, again, and that's what a lot of people say. So they'll say, oh, my water went up. And I'm like, yeah, but do you know why it went up? The one thing that has to be consistent about us is our fees and our taxes have to have representation.
It needs to be. We need it.
it needs to be answered for. The dollars need to make sense, right?
Yeah.
So by what I mean by that is, if I'm paying for a purple bag, right?
$10.
Then I want to know where that purple bag
is going to go to.
That purple bag money is going.
Exactly.
What is it paying for?
Where is it going? You know, we hear people talk, but they're not giving us answers.
Now, I called into Flanagan's show a few weeks back,
which I heard. I'm also a WSAR listener.
and Flanagan's show, we had a conversation about the purple bags, and I asked him, where does the money go? And he said the general fund. And I said, when you were the mayor, you had a sanitation enterprise fund.
Exactly.
If we don't have a sanitation enterprise fund now, where does the money go? Because this is supposed to be a fee.
Exactly.
This trash bag is supposed to be a fee.
And they're threatening us by giving us a fee if we don't buy it or use it. That's it.
But if the money goes to the general fund, which can then be used for other services in the city, then that does not make it a fee anymore, in my opinion. It makes it more of a tax.
Exactly. A tax that should not have been needed.
Well, it doesn't have representation.
Exactly.
So the sanitation fee, at least we know from what Sam Sutter was explaining to us, was that money was supposed to sustain the enterprise fund, which Sam had an opportunity to really realize, wow, our sanitation enterprise fund is too expensive, and maybe we don't do this fee, and maybe we do dissolve the enterprise fund, right? That's what he should have done. That's what Jazel did. However, Jazel has kept the bags, and everybody that you talk about, everyone that talks about this purple bag, they say the same thing. Whether it's Cliff Ponte, whether it's Pamela LeBeau, no matter who it is out there, when they mention the term or they talk about the topic of the purple bags, they use the term revenue. Where are we going to get this revenue from? Sean Kadim is big on it.
Oh, yeah.
If we lose the bags, where are we going to get the revenue? And to me, this shouldn't be about revenue, because this is not a tax that we're talking about. This is supposed to be a fee for a service. So the bags are only supposed to be used, or the bag money, I should say, is only supposed to be used to pay for the actual purpose of disposing or handling.
Clean.
No, disposing or handling residential and only residential trash services. Now, if anyone can actually reasonably show that that's exactly what this funding is for, then by all means. But I just don't think that's true. Yeah. And I don't think they've ever really shown that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, isn't that what they keep saying? Like, if you buy the bags, we make the city clean, safer, and also recycle. I recycle. I will still recycle, but I don't want to pay $10 for bags that does not do nothing for me.
Well, I'll take it a little step further and say that I don't have a problem paying for it if I knew
where it's going to,
what it was actually paying for.
If it's going for like a road or for something for the city.
But if you wanted to do that, then you are accepting this bag as a fee, not as a tax, not a fee.
Then give me a reason why this needs to happen, because I know other towns here in Massachusetts does have the bags. Because
not New Bedford.
I did not know that. Because it says New Bedford too. Because every time I see bags, different colors, it says one New Bedford.
New Bedford does not have a bag program like Pay As You Throw here. They privatized their sanitation services through ABC Disposal.
Now, how much is that for ABC? Because why don't?
And if I'm not mistaken, I think that Fairhaven also has ABC Disposal. So there's a handful of towns that do have bags, but they're towns. They're really a lot smaller. I don't know of too many places of our population, of our size, and with our triple, our deckers, all the
floors.
Yeah, the deckers that we have. I don't think that it really necessarily. They have a bag system like this one. On top of that, I also don't believe that the money that they get for the bags, these towns, I don't think it goes to the general fund. I actually think it pays for the service of trash disposal and pickup. So to me, and let's see. I got a text message from Nikki.
Sweet.
It looks like Nikki might not make it today. Damn.
That's all right.
We were on her favorite topic too. But no, I think other towns actually do use the money for what that specific purpose is for. But in Fall River, we have not specified where that purple bag money goes, especially after the Sanitation Enterprise Fund was eliminated. And that's a problem for me, because that is the number one thing. Again, a fee is fine if it's paying for something that you're using. If the money is going to the general fund and it's taxed, and we need to have a conversation about that. We need to understand where that money is going. And then the city, in my opinion, if it was a tax, you have the option to buy the bags or not. But to fine somebody over it, when it's not even being used in the term that's supposed to be used in, to then try to drop a fine on somebody, that's the government overreaching. That's been my problem from the whole time.
Well, you know the one thing, because I told my landlord that when he says that he's gonna get rid of the bags, I told her I'm not buying the bags no more. Mm-hmm. I want to buy perfectly good trash bags that will last me for months and saves me money. And she's like, I hope I don't get fined. I said, you won't get fined, because nobody has been fined.
Right.
And when they do get fined, they go bring it to the court.
I never received anything.
No.
I've yet to use the bag since 2000.
I don't know what Jordan James. I don't know if Jordan has gotten a fee.
I know. Well, Sam Sutter promised that he would get him a fine. It never happened actually. That was interesting. We've had Sam on the show too one time.
I did not remember.
It's our most viewed video.
Really? Not even Jazel? I'm surprised.
Well, I never had Jazel on since we've been here.
Oh, okay.
I had Jazel on when... Oh, you know what? No, I'm wrong. We did have Jazel on, and it was about 300 to 200 views, but the Sam Sutter one got about over 500 views, and the reason being is that Nikki took over the microphones. Let's just be real about it.
Good for her.
Nikki took over the microphones and, started to bombard Sam with a lot of questions about trash, and Sam didn't know the answers to any of them. So it was tough for him, and a lot of people were laughing about it. At any rate, I'm still getting text messages from her. I don't even know if she can listen to the show. Hopefully, she can.
I hope she can.
As far as Phillips goes.
Oh yes.
Now we were talking a little bit. I'm sorry about this, everybody. So. We started the show at 8 o'clock. We're going to be going until 9:30, or maybe a little bit before 9:30, like maybe 9:15 or so. We had to do a special kind of edition today because your host, Trot Lee, is a busy guy.
Busy.
And he has a lot of stuff to do today. So, but I tried to, instead of canceling, because Jeff actually asked for time off to get on, and I wanted to make sure I honored that. So, one of the big things you wanted to talk about was Phillips, correct?
Well, at least one of it, definitely.
Yeah.
So I know this topic has been coming up for like a week now. So
yeah.
It's been very popular here in the city.
Absolutely, it's been a political train
that everyone can
jump on. Yes, absolutely. Well, I don't think Phillips is being political. I think Phillips is doing what a business does. What's the number one goal of a business?
To keep it in the city.
That's not the number one goal of business.
Well, for people to make money.
Absolutely. That is the number one goal of a business, to make money. And they're going to cut their costs any way possible. So, knowing this information, what was Fall River supposed to do? What was Jazel Correa? What was the city council? It seems to me like a lot of people are talking about this after the fact. But what is a city supposed to do to incentivize keeping its businesses here? Knowing what you know, that businesses' number one goal is to make money, how do you incentivize a business to stay in Fall River? Go ahead. Mayor Jeffrey Goudreau is at the desk, and Phillips walks in, this Phillips light bulb looking guy walks in and says to you, we're leaving. We're packing our bags. We're going. Because our number one goal is to make money, and we're not making it at maximum profit here in Fall River. What do you say to them to keep them here? Do you shame them
I don't shame. No, I will not shame them.
Well, that's what it seems like it's being done right now.
Well, because what is their, the property rents, or what are they making? Like, are there is
profit margin was $300 million, I think. Let me read this article.
Oh yeah.
Let me read this article. Let's see. Because it did have the exact number, I believe. Let's see. After celebrating $342 million in profits last year, Phillips Lighting announced that they would be closing their Fall River factory and moving to Mexico.
Mexico.
Boom. So $342 million.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yep.
Well, it's corporate greed.
Is it?
I think so.
Okay.
Like any other corporate. Because I know they want to save a couple of bucks. Like a few million.
And if I'm not mistaken, so they also had $187.4 million in stock buybacks thanks to the tax plan with the tax cuts.
Yep. Because of Trump's promise to give everyone a tax, the big corporate tax break. So, yep. I mean, personally, you want any city to have business and to I don't even know how many factories do we even have that actually do manufacturing work. That's the one thing there's only a handful.
So I got information from from my co-host from a phone, telling us that it's a Dutch company based in the Netherlands. They are investing big money into solar lighting and not so much into the U.S. right now. India is their priority. Yep. They've been closing plants in the United States for years. They move where the best deals are. That's what a business is going to do. And I know that there are people out there that feel like they have a priority to Fall River, but they don't. These businesses do not have a priority to the city. And we're seeing that right now. It's not lip service, it's not words that are going to make this change. It's what you do to incentivize businesses, or you let them walk. That's it.
Then they need to make negotiations and say, what can we do to keep you here with people working?
And Nikki's listening, so I think I know where she's going with this, and her thing is, why do we let these outside businesses, like a Dutch company such as Philips or whatever, why do we let these outside companies come in? Why don't we put these investments in TIFs and whatever else? Why don't we invest in local people who want to do local work in the city?
Yeah, but what kind of local workers would people want to that's around? That's the one thing I want to know.
Well, and maybe what I'm thinking is, because we are so head over heels over outside businesses such as Amazon and other manufacturing facilities, that we don't really have an incentive or we have a motivation to be local on those scales, because we're so quick to just say Amazon or so quick to say Philips or so quick to say something like Blunt Foods, for example. That's a local business, right? Who has received TIFs, so I think a lot of people are probably thinking, if we can do something like that with Blunt, or is it Blount? What's funny is there's a basketball player named Mark Blount, and it's spelled Blount. So I think because I'm such a big Celtics fan, I continually say Blunt, but I think it's Blount. So we're gonna go with Blount on this one. So Blount Soups, that's a local business. That was from here, and that could be the model. Although I think that they have some things that they need to improve upon too, or other people have mentioned to me, but they can be the model of a local business that does expand, that does, grow in the city. And, instead of investing in these outside businesses. Now, I'm getting another text. I try to honor everybody. I try to honor everyone that calls or texts in. No politician from the city to the federal government are going to make Phillips stay. But we can have big corporations, but we should not rely only on big businesses.
No, not always on big business. Like small businesses. I don't know. What's a small business here in the city right now that's doing pretty well? Because
A big business that's doing pretty well.
Yeah, no, like a small businesses, like that's giving people work, and like maybe 100 people. Like,
well, that's what I was saying about Blanc Soups.
Yeah,
is that's one of them. No, there's plenty of businesses around here that are local that provide jobs and things like that. And I think what we're forgetting though is the number one goal of a business is to make money. So if you're going to go in, yeah, I got Matuk.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Matuk is another one there. Nikki posted that one in there. But what we do here in Fall River is we expect. Instead of incentivizing, we expect.
Because I don't even know some of these businesses.
And some of these other businesses get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So when I mentioned about the school, I've been talking a lot about the debt exclusion for the school and the bond, the 30-year bond.
30 years.
With interest.
Yes.
When we get that going, people forgot. They would, it's only an extra $100 a month. It's only an extra $100 a month. I can pay that. I'll pay that for a new school. It's only an extra $100. It's only an extra $100 for properties that I believe are somewhere around $210,000 a year.
Not every place though, but at least certain landlords will definitely have to may have to raise up the rent a little. And it's
however, commercial taxes are going to go up a lot higher than $100 a month.
Oh yeah,
they're going to go up into the thousands for some.
Whatever jobs here in the city will definitely go up down in a few years. So your commercial taxation is going to go a lot higher than your property taxes, and we have to know that there are some businesses out there that are going to weigh the option: do I pay more taxes to function in Fall River? Or do I go somewhere else? Oh, there was recent the banners that's shipping from New York to come in Fall River, and a lot of people were complaining that why is it made here in the city or somewhere in Massachusetts?
Nikki said you have a good radio voice.
Well, thank you, Nikki.
You were saying something about the Make It Here banners not being made in Fall River?
Well, so some people recently has been calling the shows on WSAR, like either Flanagan or Ray Mitchell, and they were saying about, why isn't the banners made in Fall River and all that? I was recently told it is going to be made in the city. It's going to be shipped to here, and the people here in the city are going to be making it the banners and all that, whatever. Like the pins, some people saying that the pins weren't even made here. So, because
it looks to me like it's not being quote made in Fall River.
Right.
It's actually being produced from somewhere else, and then we're going to do the business with it in Fall River. However, people have to understand what business is all about. Mm-hmm. It's just like when people say to us, "Oh, teachers deserve more money than an athlete," right? Yeah. LeBron James makes $200 million a year, and there's firemen that save lives, and there's teachers out there that work with kids, and they deserve that kind of money too. And I'm thinking, well, they probably do, morally. There's some really good firemen and police officers and teachers out there that absolutely
deserves more.
Absolutely do phenomenal work, and probably more important to their community than LeBron James is to their community. However, where does LeBron James's money come from?
From people.
Yes.
They're buying merchandise, tickets, going to these $1,000 events. Like, I will never pay that kind of money.
Now, who supplies the money for the police officer, the cop? I'm sorry, the fireman and the teacher.
Taxpayers.
There you go.
Taxpayers.
There you go.
That's why I'm saying to myself, do we need more taxes? Do you want more taxes in the city? When you go and vote on any taxes in the near future, do I want to vote yes on something that should need, or do I just say no for once?
It's ideal versus reality, Jeff. It's ideals versus reality, and I talk about this in with parents that I work with. You have an ideal thought of what your child should be doing. But the reality is just your child is doing this instead. And you have to work through that. And in Fall River, when we're talking about businesses and businesses need to stay in Fall River, we have to start looking at reality instead of ideal. So the ideal situation is that Phillips will say, you know what? Fall River needs these jobs and we're going to stay here because we need these jobs. But the reality is the number one goal of a business isn't to provide jobs, to Fall River or to provide jobs to a poor town. The number one goal of a business is to make as much money as it possibly can. And moving to Mexico makes that happen right now. Am I happy about it? Obviously not. No. We can't. It's not something that we're proud of here. But if we want to keep businesses here, then that perspective needs to be at the forefront.
Then they need to change their, I'm gonna rent this building. Don't increase my rent here, because then I'm gonna have to move somewhere else just to lower my price down so people can work.
And if we can't incentivize those businesses,
then people are gonna go.
Then anything that we say after they leave, to me, especially from a political standpoint, is just lip service.
Now I realize I want more businesses here, not just Fall River, Massachusetts itself, because I don't know what's going on right now, but there's a candy factory, the oldest candy factory here in Fall River, is most likely may close, and you got 400 people may lose their jobs.
Yep.
Now I don't know anything about, I don't know what's going on that right now, but they were like, I don't know if you heard of it recently.
What?
Of the candy, this oldest factory here in Massachusetts is going to be closing.
This is new information.
You know those little candies that you buy at the dollar store. They're like the little waffle candies.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
Those, the candy factory that's making those, they're supposed to be going out of business.
That's scary.
And I'm like, what can we do to get this to this?
No, are they going out of business because they're not getting enough people?
I don't know.
Because if they're not selling enough product, then that's just basically they're going to have to figure out a way as a business to advertise.
Well, I think they're trying to want to sell the company.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on because it's like,
Hey, a lot of times I've seen a lot of local coffee shops get bought up by Dunkin' Donuts. It happens quite a lot. There was a place in Dartmouth. People to this day still love this Mom and Pop's coffee shop in Dartmouth, but it got bought out by Dunkin' Donuts.
And is it Dunkin' Donuts still?
Oh, no.
Oh, they still kept it?
Oh, no. It's Dunkin' Donuts. It's not the old, yeah.
Oh, God.
She's saying Necco?
Yes.
Candy?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, and yeah, Nikki also said that they're moving some of their jobs to Canada, which I knew about that too as well.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they're moving their jobs all over. But I think when people mention the Mexico part of it, they're trying to appeal to Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump has this obsession with Mexico. But these jobs are going everywhere. A lot of these places that are going, they're going to the highest bidder. They're going to where they're going to be able to make the most money. It doesn't matter if it's Mexico or not.
Well, I care for people to want to work more. And I don't want to see more people losing their jobs.
You got 400 people losing their jobs, I think she's saying, from the Necco.
Yes, that's... Yeah. As far as 200 people losing their jobs at the Phillips Lighting, now you got 400 people losing their jobs at this factory.
Yep.
And hopefully something can work out because, you better buy these candies now before they're going to be gone.
I was under this impression that these huge tax cuts by Donald Trump was supposed to keep jobs. But the problem is that the national level goes so far. Your local level is what's going to hold on to these jobs.
Exactly.
What you do on a local level is going to hold on to these jobs.
It's not just the president. It's also here in our own state.
But Phillips specifically, this has been going on since 2010.
2010? I did not know any of this back then.
Yeah.
It's like the Quaker factory when they closed in 2008. Why did it close? Where did it go? There was 600 or 800 people lost their jobs at that time.
Yep.
And now it's an old. I don't even know what they're using that anymore, but it's a empty factory.
Yep. But right now with the Phillips Lighting, this is a political train that everyone's jumping on now. You have articles out here now with people
pleading.
You got senators, you have state reps. You have a lot going on here, advocating for a job that's already packing up its bags and going. But, you know, has anyone sat down and actually talked to Phillips and said, you know, what does Fall River have to do to make sure that you stay here?
What can we do for you to stay without have to go to another?
All this public activity, getting on the newspapers, all that stuff. To me, that's political. That's just political.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it definitely is.
It's people positioning themselves for office.
But I'm like thinking to myself, why now? Why couldn't you done this in the past with other factories closing? Could it have been saved? I don't know. Could this place be saved? I don't think so.
And this is what I'm talking about. Like, you're not going to shame a company into. You have to give somebody a lot more than shame. So right now, Senator Edward Markey, Phillips Lighting should be ashamed of announcing it will ship jobs from Fall River to Mexico. Like, the hardworking men and women of IBEW Local 1499. To me, that is someone just looking for their union voting support. That's all they're doing. If they really want, to try to keep Phillips down here, they're not doing this. They're not doing it on Facebook and Twitter.
No, they need to act. And the only person I think has actually done it in public is Joe Kennedy.
And I'm agreeing, and that's what I mean, Nikki. I think we're pretty much saying the same thing. No one is going to get Phillips to stay. The owners in the Netherlands do not care about Fall River, Massachusetts. Well,
not just Fall River, anywhere in this state right now.
But there is a reason why they're moving their people to Mexico, or in Canada, right? So there is a reason. We need to know what that reason is, and to see if we can compete with that reason. That's it. That is what keeps the jobs here. We have to be more we have to show Phillips that they're going to profit more by staying here rather than going to a different country. That is the only way. That's it. Everyone else who's doing everything else is doing it for personal gain. Oh, I like that the Senator so-and-so or Mayor so-and-so or Representative so-and-so or City Councilor so-and-so is doing all this. I like, because they care about the city. They care. Okay, sure.
Yeah, you may care, but sometimes you don't.
I think doing it after the fact is fine. Former Mayor Flanagan, sometimes I think he uses the radio show to position himself for another run. I really feel like there's a lot going on there.
Well, even though he says he has his job as a lawyer.
And again, and Nikki's saying they're getting better deals in Mexico and Canada, and I hope that I think Nikki might be on a delay, but I hope Nikki hears the rest of that part where I was literally saying the only way you keep him here is by becoming more marketable than Mexico and Canada. If Phillips knows that if it stays here it's going to make more money, then they'll stay here. But if they know they're going to make more money going somewhere else, it's very, very, very simple, and that's business. That's what I was talking about with ideals and reality. The reality is a business's number one job is to make the most money you can.
Absolutely.
And that is the only way you are going to incentivize these bigger businesses, these outside businesses from staying here. Period. There's no other way around it.
If you want me to stay, you gotta negotiate with me and give me a reason why I should stay without having to hire up taxes and everything. So I don't have to go to another country and I can pay less and pay workers less money.
Made in Fall River. Make it here.
Made in Fall River.
Make it here.
Make it here. And did you know that $700 just to buy the flag for a year? Now a lot of people are like, I know it's a lot of money, but you know what? If you really want this would be great for your local businesses. I'm like, I guess there's two flags there you can buy. One for less, and there's one for the, oh God, 700. I don't even know. They were talking about all these gold membership. It's like you buy this, you get more. You get like an extra flag or something. Because I'm like, for 1 year, for that much.
That's an investment that Jizzle feels is going to be good for the city.
Good luck with that.
I always, every time that, the one thing you got to give him some credit for is that He's always looking to do something a little different from what other mayors have done.
Oh yeah, I want to hear something a little different.
He's looking to do some things that are a little different, and we are reactive to him right now. He tries to be proactive. We are reactive. So we sit back and we wait for him to come up with an idea, and then we react to that idea by saying nah. And most of the time it's nah. But I see what he's trying to do. It's not a bad thing what he's trying to do. I just think that maybe what he could do is, once he sees the landscape that's offered to him, such as a New York-based business offering to make the banners for us, he steps back and says, hold on a minute, maybe Fall River can do this in Fall River. Mm-hmm. Maybe it can. And if it can't, I'll exhaust that option. So then when I do go to New York and say, yes, we'll do this, we've exhausted options in Fall River. So what he could have done is said, Fall River right now is being offered this. Is there anyone in Fall River that can match this? Because we have an obligation, I have an obligation as the mayor to find the best deal for Fall River. And if this is the best deal for Fall River, then I'm going to go with it. However, Fall River, I'm giving you an opportunity to bring this here, right? Mm-hmm. And had he done something similar to that process, then maybe he wouldn't get a little bit of the blowback that he's gotten back on this Make It Here banners being produced in New York. Maybe.
Well, maybe, but because
I don't know. This is all speculative, discussion at this point. But it feels like maybe if he took an extra step a couple of times, same thing with Easy Disposal. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? Like, although I do think that there was a bid for that, and Easy Disposal turned out to be the best one. I think that's how it went. But I don't necessarily remember all of that. By the way, since I just whispered necessary, you do listen to a lot of the local.
I haven't heard his show in a while.
You haven't heard from
because he hasn't really done it.
No,
he hasn't done it.
But you did listen to him.
Oh yeah, I loved his show at the
Michael
time.
D. Oliveira, Necessary Media.
What's up, man? I hope he listens.
Yeah, every once in a while.
Yeah, I used to love listening to his show and put the videos up. It was funny. But yeah.
But going back, like if Jazel, I think if Jazel, even if he did do all that, he has to be a little bit more public in the process to the people so they understand it.
I will say this: if he runs against Cliff Ponte, is it going to be? Well, I still think it could be Sean Kadim, in my opinion.
Okay.
You know why? Because when Rich Capiceris did Rich Capiceris.
Oh, well, sounds familiar. Good.
Oh, he had a famous talk show host that he didn't really last long.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But when he ran against, he didn't run against, but when he was running for the race.
5 messages, Nikki.
He did not clap. He did not shake hands with Jazel, and he was running against. Mm-hmm. Sean Kadim did the same thing. Only this time he left. He left, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, he's so disrespectful." I think it's because he's like fed up with the mayor, and he definitely is going to run against him. As far as Cliff, I would say yeah. But I think he's happy where he is right now with as a city council, as a president right now.
I think that the day Cliff Ponte decided to run for city council, he always had his eyes set for mayor and possibly bigger office.
Because everyone keeps asking him about that.
And I also know that with Sean, he's already run for mayor.
He did.
And I think he also has his eyes set for something. I'm not sure exactly what it is. At first I thought it was mayor, but it looks by him stepping down from council president and promoting Cliff Ponte, it looks as though the all the chess pieces are in place.
Oh yeah.
For maybe Cliff to run for mayor and perhaps Sean to be somewhere in the mix of all of this. Maybe, I don't know, as administrator again, or
there's no doubt,
or something.
Probably will.
Yeah, something to that matter where this certain core group of guys. You can even put maybe possibly Kevin Aguiar, a couple other people, because I've seen Kevin Aguiar at Cliff Ponte's sign holdings. There seems, and they're all from a very similar neighborhood, so it could be that all the pieces are in place for a certain group of people to start running the city, and it's possibly already in motion. It's probably already there, with Jazel, I think what Jazel has to do is. and it's just my opinion. I think what he's going to need to do is show his record and stand it up against other people's records when Sean was a city administrator, or Cliff Ponte as the council president right now, where a lot of mistakes are being made.
Oh, yeah.
And just compare and say, look, you guys know how to get elected, but do you know how to do the job?
Exactly.
Can you do the job? Can you do the job better than me? And he's gonna have to show that he's following through on this stuff. He's lived up to more campaign promises than I've seen at previous mayors. Hands down. And that's not really necessarily a promotion for him. It's probably really more of a shot at the previous mayors that we've seen who don't follow through on a lot of their campaign promises. The getting rid of that fee, possibly he looked me in the face just very recently and said that those bags would be gone by around September. I said I'm going to give you October because I don't think it's going to happen in September.
Shoot.
But we'll find out. And I know it's a harder process than easier said than done. You can't just snap your fingers and make it happen, and I know that. So we're gonna see how this all goes. We're gonna see how this all goes.
We'll see. I don't know if you want to get into the other topics that you put down.
Oh, you want to talk about some other things?
Oh yeah, I didn't know if there was.
Well, I'm not. I used to pride myself on my show prep back in the day. I'll be honest with you, Nikki. I know you're listening. I told Jeff prior to when we started the good old days, before he started listening to us on YouTube. There was a little place called BCC, Bristol Community College, if you will. That had a little you call studio,
which I see.
Yes, and we would be able to do our shows there, and it was a lot different. The time of day we did it, we were competing with like the morning shows of WSAR and doing pretty well. We had a lot of listeners at that point in time.
I bet.
Since we've shifted to YouTube, it's been a little different, but we still enjoy it. But show prep was my thing back then.
Yeah.
I'd be texting Nikki and later on Derek on Monday. All right, so on a Thursday show, we're going to do this. On a Friday show, we're going to do this. And blah, 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 blah. And, we had it all posted all over the place. And it was actually really, really good. It could probably still be that way if we really, really wanted it to. Yeah. But I've become very busy.
Hey, you have
in 2014, 2015, I only had one job. Now I have 3 jobs, and I like doing it. I love the work that I'm doing, and school is finally done, and all this and that. But
summer is here.
But the City Talk Fall River days were really a lot more fun when I had more time on my hands.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. You have a busy life.
So we did pull up some articles. Speaking of campaigning. Mattilo? I wish I knew how to say his last name. Man, I stink at this. If Derek was here right now, he'd probably fallen on the floor laughing because I'm trying to pronounce this person's name. I'm gonna go with Matteo.
Matteo must be. Ooh.
Matteo? I'll go with Matteo. Let's see. Matteo must repay $72,000 because text messages show that his aides coordinated a controversial mailer. The Rhode Island Board of Elections came down hard on House Speaker Nicholas Matteo on Tuesday night. I really think I messed his name up, but I apologize to whoever's listening. Ordering him to repay about $72,000 in misappropriated expenses and connecting his former campaign aides with a controversial mailer in his hard-fought 2016 race. The board's votes came after more than a year of investigation into 2 complaints filed by the state GOP. One alleged that he used his political action committee, that's called the PAC, PAC, to spend thousands of dollars more than allowed in the 2016 election. One small quick thing about PACs. If a person doesn't want to directly be a part of that, they don't have to be, but the PAC can raise money in the name of that.
Right.
That candidate. So, and a lot of PACs. There's millions of them now around the country. In a statement that referred only to the excessive PAC spending, he said he was pleased this issue has been resolved. because I guess they you know, that the whole thing's, he did say, I regret that my campaign inadvertently made some mistakes. I accept the warning from the Board of Elections and will fully repay from my campaign account what is owed to the PAC. So again, he owes money to the PAC, you know, so they can support him and raise money for him, but at the end, it's not his.
Right.
See, to me, it's a little hacky way of raising money without having to directly raise money.
How old is he?
Ooh, that would be something that we'd have to look up because I don't know.
Oh, okay. Because I thought he seems like a younger guy.
Yes. So that's that, and you know, it's a whole article, a very long
way
article.
too long.
Very long article. I've been scolded in the past for reading articles too much online by my co-host. So, but you know that to me that whole deal is exactly the reason why receiving campaign money is something I like to get out to avoid, because even if you didn't do it yourself, you can still pay a fine if they represent you. So if if groups of people come up to me and say, "Hey, we're going to raise money for you," I tell them, like, no, please don't, like, because once that's in my name, I'm responsible for it. And if any mistakes are made, and I'm not saying that it would be, but you're responsible for that. And money in politics is just not a good mix. Now, I have to concede that if you're running for a bigger office than school committee and city council, you should very likely raise money. You're gonna have to raise money if you really want to seriously win that. And as a matter of fact, people could say that about city council. I mean, I'm proof that you don't necessarily have to raise a lot of money
hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, you don't have to raise a lot of money to get votes in the city, but it's as you know, because you had a front row seat, Jeff. It's a very hard campaign to run.
But you know what? It's worth it.
Oh yeah,
it's so worth it.
Yep. So Nikki said PAC's illegal loopholes. I agree, Nikki. It's just another hacky way to get more money on you, and to avoid some laws that are in place if you directly receive money. One article that I think Nikki and a lot of other people probably be interested in reading and seeing is, I got this from the Seattle Times. I actually saw it on USA Today first, but then I decided to pull up the Seattle Times since it's going on in Seattle. Seattle is asking the court to dismiss all misdemeanor marijuana convictions before its legalization.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that something?
Now, explain to me on why they want to do this. Like, I'm just wondering.
It is, so if the state legalized marijuana in 2018, but for the last 30, 40 years, convicting people for misdemeanor, then they want to dismiss it because everyone
I think that would be fair.
Here's my only issue. Is that when the law was the law, they broke it.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Even if you're driving or if you have other things on you.
If the law is the law, they broke it. Now, if the claim is this should have never been a law in the first place, such as slavery, for example, right? Then they get, it's almost like a pardon, and it gets taken off all their records. It's an interesting situation to see, you know. But if I knowingly broke the law and I got a misdemeanor for it, then it doesn't matter, in my opinion, what happens afterwards.
Do you think it would, if they do this, why not other cities do this?
Well, that's the reason why I pulled this up.
I'm wondering.
Because Fall River has, significantly decriminalized marijuana possession. Mm-hmm. So,
oh yeah,
I wonder if this is going to be an ongoing trend. Seattle is relatively liberal and at the forefront of liberal politics for the most part, I think. And there's a lot of hipsters out that way. There's a lot of
and they make good money.
Tech stocks are big time over there, and not only there but in Oregon as well. And I think that you're going to see a lot more of this. I think this is not going to be a one-time thing. I think if this is successful, you may see a trend all the way across the country, and that's going to be something to see.
Well, because Fall River is supposed to have 2 marijuana stores.
Well, I wonder if 20 years from now there'll be a push to decriminalize other drugs, and if that's the case, then what?
I don't think having heroin would be a good thing. Like, sure, heroin will be allowed. I don't think so.
You don't think they'll decriminalize other drugs?
No.
You don't think we'll have like a
because
little
I think some people. I think there's certain drugs that is, even though they say you need marijuana for because you have cancer,
mm-hmm.
or you need it because you have bipolar. I have a friend who just who needs it because he has nerve issues and all that. You need marijuana for
mm-hmm.
certain reasons, not because you just want to smoke and get high and eat. That's not what it's. You do that because you're not going to do anything criminal. You're not a bad person by smoking weed.
But you're saying that in 2018, right?
Yeah, but and it's funny because back then a few years ago when you would get busted just to have a little joint or something, because if you did something, a cop pulls you over because he smells weed, he's going to have you get out and he's going to arrest you even if you have a little blunt. And even though you're not supposed to drive, even like when you're driving drunk,
mm-hmm.
That's something I agree.
But 30, 40 years ago, I'll bet, Jeff, that there was another guy out there in the world saying they'll never legalize marijuana.
Well, it's funny because back in the 20s, 30s, it was allowed, if I'm not mistaken. The government...
Well, so was cocaine.
Wow.
Right? No, Bayer used to make cocaine. As a matter of fact, I think it was in Coca-Cola.
And they admitted it, and even they admitted that drinking Pepsi, they made how they make Pepsi it's cancer. So it's like anything you drink or put on is from something chemical. So I mean, marijuana probably I don't know. I think if you mix it with anything else, then you should not do.
I guess my point is that socially and legally, we were at a mindset at one point in our history.
Yeah.
And then it changed.
Like booze. It was legal.
Oh, yeah.
You could not drink in the 30s, and they sneaked it underneath the table from the government.
Absolutely.
I mean, the same thing with marijuana.
You look at prohibition in general, and that's why I kind of laugh sometimes when we talk about, this isn't legal and this isn't legal. Well, people are still getting it.
Exactly.
Right? So then what's the point of keeping it illegal if people are still getting it? There's only one point.
Well, it's like Trump. Oh, excuse me. It's like Trump saying that he wants a big wall and all the criminals won't get in. They'll find a way to sneak in.
Right. So then I guess my point is that, and Nikki has been texting me about it. But I was going to get there. I was trying to get there in our conversation, but I'll ask the question again.
Okay.
If people can already get access to the drugs,
right,
then what is the real point of making it illegal?
I don't know. To me, I don't. Well, you say money.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's it. And Nikki was mentioning, and I was told Nikki I was trying to get to that point. Your private prisons. Mm-hmm. Your private prisons make profit. Literally, states have been sued by private prisons for not keeping up with quota. I'm not joking.
No.
It's hideously awful.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
So I wonder if the government is going to really allow this to happen, because the ramifications of something like this happening, where you can go back and they're only going after misdemeanors, if you notice, right?
Yeah.
They're not going after major crimes.
Oh, exactly.
They're not going after just the misdemeanors. But that might open the door. This misdemeanor situation might open the door for bigger and better, situations. But there is a huge business of drug convictions and putting people in jail and making money off of these drug convictions, and the government continually in these for-profit prisons in this cycle of making things illegal that people still have access to. And to me, if I'm not saying to legalize, I mean, you could legalize it all, honestly, but if you took the emphasis away from non-violent crimes, if you took the emphasis away from non-violent crimes and made the law only for violent crimes, and take away the non-violent crimes, I wonder how that would affect the economy of these private prisons and the law enforcement system altogether. I wonder.
You think it would be much smoother? Because if
it would be less expensive.
I would say less expensive.
It would decrease huge on the costs of these systems.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna real quick about if you get busted for having a pound, you're going to be in jail for a few months, or you're gonna sneak in, you're gonna have a bag full of weed, then yeah, you're gonna be in jail for a while. But I mean, should it be legal on that?
Victimless crimes should not put people in jail, Nikki says.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. I think that's why I started this Seattle conversation, because I wanted it to progress to this conversation. Whereas victimless crimes in general, there is an enormous advantage in victimless crime. People in jail for victimless crimes than there are for victim crimes. Victimful crimes? Would you say, Nikki? Victimful crimes? Is that a new word that I just made up? Look it up. Google it.
Google.
But no, if you have, I'll just call them violent crimes. Something that violated somebody else, right? If you weigh those two, it's not even close. It's not even close. So I wonder if there was ever a push, and that's not a conservative point of view. Conservatives, for the most part, want to throw drug dealers in jail for life, which is nuts.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, because the reason being is it's going to be more of a burden on
taxpayers,
on the system to do that than the other way around. Not to mention, people, unfortunately, believe it or not, and it's a very sad situation, and I'm not trying to sugarcoat this, but people have free will. And if they choose to do what they choose to do, it's their choice to do it.
Oh, don't forget, Trump wants to execute people for drug dealers.
Victimful, in my estimation, is a great word. Now, do you know about estimentation?
No.
Okay, we're going to tell you.
Please tell me.
We're going to give you a little history on estimentation.
Please do.
3 minutes, no more than 3 minutes.
All right.
There was a city councilor back in the day called Dan Rigo.
Ah, Mr. Rigo, I heard of him.
Dan Rigo is someone that I like. A lot of people like Dan.
I met him. Yeah.
However, as a city councilor, Danny would go on a lot of tirades.
I've seen, yes.
And Danny sometimes would make up words in his tirades.
Okay.
And in one of the times that he made up a word, it was estimentation.
Okay.
And this was years ago. And since that time, Nikki, myself, Derek, we like to use that term estimentation quite often. Oh, you know what? That didn't take 3 minutes. It took less than a minute. So
hey,
I estimated wrong. So, as far as this goes, I think that there are so many topics to talk about on a political scale. Yesterday, I went to Newton, Massachusetts. This little college, actually really nice college called William James College. Out in Newton, and they did a seminar, all-day seminar from 9 o'clock in the morning all the way to 4 in the afternoon, about military families and military caregivers. Right?
Yeah.
We were offered to go to this based on the fact that I run the vet center down on Pine Street. They have so many heartfelt stories of caregivers for their children. A lot of parents have to become caregivers for their children if they get injured in the war or in battle or
it's sad.
For whatever reason that you see a military member, they'll either lose a limb,
a leg,
really really severe brain damage where they can't function without help, and because there's no money, and I'm talking about almost $0 that go to these families to help their veterans. they become the caregivers. They have to become the doctors, the nurses, the CNA. They have to do the cleaning. They have to do
all that.
And they have to sacrifice their lives and in some cases their jobs to take care and to become the caregivers of these military veterans. And they don't have the funding to take care of them. If you're in the VA, if you were a military veteran and you had a wife or a child, they can't get on with you unless you were active duty.
Right. My father was.
You can't be you as a dependent. You still have to fend for yourself and your medical care. Only the veteran gets that medical care.
Right.
So a lot of people are going through a hard time, and I'm just using this as a small example of the many, many, many problems in the country right now when it comes to certain things. And we can open up a can of worms on so many topics that we don't even know that a lot of people are blind to.
Or just don't care.
And I believe that this private for-profit prison system is going to be the underlying layer of a lot of problems in this country. A lot of problems in this country. It's gonna be Nikki's way behind on her feed right now, so she's still laughing at the estimation thing. But yeah, we're gonna this private prison problem is going private prison problem. See, there you go. It's gonna be that's gonna become to the forefront, and this misdemeanor marijuana conviction. I think you're gonna see some noise. You're gonna see some movement. Don't get me wrong, but I wonder how far that can go, and is that world gonna clash with the prison world? And that whole racket of making money off of victimless crimes. It's going to be a big, big deal. Now, I'm going to close out a little bit here, but I did want to honor Nikki and I, who have been talking for a while about the Donald Trump stuff. Not for a big long time, but just for a little while. We spent the last 2 shows, I would say, talking about some Donald Trump stuff. So I want to throw out there before we go that, and Nikki's not going to agree with me on this one. What I'm hoping is that she listens to this and then she puts her rebuttal together for next week. I think that if Donald Trump had any part at all in the declaration of the Korean War finally being over and the denuclearization. I messed that up. I'm sure I did. But if they get rid of their nuclear weapons, then we are going to finally see Donald Trump get some credit.
Maybe
he deserves credit if he was a part of this.
Well,
and if it fully goes through, Nobel Peace Prize.
Oh God.
For Donald Trump.
Oh, she's gonna be like.
Is anyone ready? Is anyone ready for that?
I don't know.
Is anyone ready for that?
Does he deserve it?
Huh?
Do you think he deserves it for that?
I think 100%. Yeah. As much as I've criticized him when he does stupid things,
same here.
You have to be equally ready to give him credit.
What credit to do?
Absolutely.
Oh,
as someone who spent 2 years of his life in Korea, I appreciate that. I do. Said he was a part of it. No peace prize though.
Oh.
I really do think that there'll be an argument to be made.
Well, I can't wait to hear that next week.
Oh yeah. So thank you for coming on the show.
No problem, Troy.
Thank you, sir.
I'll be glad to come here.
I got a lot of things to do today. I'm a very, very busy guy today, so I do apologize for the shortened show. You should have got your 2 hours in with Nikki and Derek.
I would glad to come here next time and speak to these 2 good people.
The thing is, we're not on a tight schedule here. We do like the show when we can.
Whenever.
Yeah. So when you took time out of work to do this, I wanted to make sure we got you in because I don't want to ruin that for you. So
hey, I met Derek. I mean, great guy. I have not met Nikki. I would love to meet her soon.
Yeah, Nikki's cool. I've known Nikki longer than I've known anybody in most of my life, because her brother I've known since I was a little kid, and her cousins were like my best friends back when I was in elementary school. So long time I've known Nikki and her family. All right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you for listening. We are
out.